We are expecting a bit of snow this afternoon. Let's bring in CTV's Anwar Knight now. He's at the Mavis Works Yard in Mississauga. And Anwar, those salters, always the first line of defense.
Absolutely. In fact, some would say it's typically the most common weapon of choice for municipalities when it comes to battling Old Man Winter. It's sodium chloride or salt, and a very large pile of it, about 4,000 tons. What many people don't realize is that the salt shipping season begins typically each year every April, and that means hundreds of thousands of tons of salt makes its way to Toronto Harbour, and it'll be distributed amongst those who place the order, those in terms of a municipality. Certainly, Mississauga's included in that. Some of this also comes from Windsor. It's directly trucked from a mine in Windsor. And this city, Mississauga, will use about 45,000 tons of regular salt and about 12,000 tons of the pre-treated. Yeah, not all salt is equal, so we're going to learn about that and find out the challenges that a municipality has when it comes to clearing the roadways and keeping it safe. Let's take a look at our current conditions. We'll start off with the satellite radar picture, show you what it looks like here. We have certainly that clipper that's slowly starting to descend further to the south. There are 4 yards that are strategically placed in Mississauga, and they have 8 domes, so at any given time, roughly 35 to 40,000 tons of salt. So it's going to be an eye-opening adventure here. As we broadcast live on location, we'll send it back to you guys now inside the studio.
Thanks, Ed.
We are live on location at the Mavis Works Yard in Mississauga. Not all road salt is created equal. You can see this has a blue tinge. This is Bob Levesque. Tell me a little bit about this salt and when you use it.
This is our magnesium chloride treated salt. We use this on all our secondary roads and our sidewalks. We treat all our priority sidewalks. Now,
what's the advantage of that?
Well, the magnesium chloride actually lowers the freezing point down to about minus 21. It's a higher moisture content. It activates a lot quicker and allows us to use less road salt.
Minus 21, that is a good threshold, which will come in handy over the next few days. Your full forecast and more coming up after this short break. Stay with us. Are we going to dump this in there? That's the next load. So you guys are all getting ready.
The Mavis Works Yard, that's where we'll find our Anwar Knight this afternoon, because we're about to get a little dose of snow. Any snow falling yet, or when are we expecting to see it?
You know what, I would think in the next 90 minutes or so we'll start to see the leading edge of that clipper move in, Michelle. And again, we're not forecasting a lot, but we all know it doesn't take much to slow the roadways. So certainly these guys are on the ready, as they are in Toronto and other municipalities across southern Ontario. I want to show you a little something that many of us are familiar with, and that's your standard salt truck. We see these guys going throughout the summer months. It's your typical salt that gets dropped in with the spreaders. But one of the more newer technologies that have come out in the last few years is the brine solution. So, Bob, maybe we can call this gentleman in. So this is your brine truck that you use here in Mississauga. Mississauga is Canada's 6th largest city. They have their own roadways that they want to take care of. And I was always under the assumption that the brine actually was something that was better than salt, but there are some severe limitations. Explain a little bit about this process.
Well, the brine is used very specific temperature range from about 2 degrees down to about minus 6. It is done as a pre-treatment only. We use it to prevent the bonding of ice onto the roads, and it also helps us treat black ice conditions, so really a safety feature. We do bridges, high-risk areas, hills, and we've started the program now into our priority roads, so it's a relatively new program for that area.
But you were saying because it's a water-based super concentrated salt, that the threshold on the freeze point is up to minus 6, you were saying. So optimal is 2 to minus 6, right?
Yes, and if the forecast calls for road temperatures that are going to drop below minus 10, it's something we wouldn't be able to do because it'll just freeze. So it is like a saltwater solution that we're putting on the roads.
And then the regular salt, what would be the threshold, just regular salt?
Well, that will go down to about minus 12, and then with the pre-treated salt, we can get right down to about minus 21.
See, isn't that something? So you just assume it's all going to work, but there's actually a formula here to ensure safety. Let's take a look at your forecast, guys. We'll start off by letting you know that the weather is brought to you by the Mississauga Works Yard. The crews are here. They're on the ready. They're watching the weather as closely as many of our viewers. We'll have more in minutes. You're watching CTV News.
To Mississauga, here's Anwar Knight.
Thank you so much, Colin. You know, as technology gets better, they're trying to reduce the impact on the environment. So, Bob, you're saying some new technology when it comes to the actual road salt.
Yes, we have the ability to add brine right to the salt as it comes out of the hopper. And that brine will wet the salt. It'll prevent it from bouncing all over the road. And it'll allow the salt to activate much faster.
This is really fascinating. You think it's just salt on a roadway, but there's some really clever thinking. We'll have a forecast recap coming up as we broadcast live in Mississauga. Stay with us.
Snow is on the way this afternoon or Anwar night at the Mississauga Works Yard.
Yes, indeed. In fact, the stacker is turned on. They're loading up some more here. They're topping things up. And we mentioned about technology. Mississauga is one of the first municipalities in the country to release an app. And this is something that residents can download and check real-time data of where the plows are and how often the road has been cleaned. That'll be probably the norm across the country as we deal with the winter months, and it makes the commute that much quicker. Here very quickly is your 7-day forecast. Snow.
And that's CTV News at noon. Remember, you can still get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and on our website, toronto.ctvnews.ca.
For Anwar and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
I'm Colin DeMello. Be sure to join us this evening for CTV News at 6.
See you then.
Bye.